Hi, this is Trey Passer. Welcome to my review with spoilers of the Marvel TV show Echo. Okay, it was 5 episodes they dropped, I believe, on the 9th. Okay, so I got finished watching the last of it on Friday. This show is a sequel, I guess, in a way, to the events of Hawkeye. If you've seen Hawkeye, you'll know exactly that character was introduced. Maya Lopez, she's introduced, and she obviously worked for Kingpin. And at the end of that series, she wound up finding out that Kingpin wound up being the one to arrange her father getting killed by Ronan, played by Hawkeye, the character of Hawkeye. Clint Barton when he was going through his down phase once his wife and family got snapped. But anyway, this events of this episode begins. This series begins with her going back to her hometown after basically shooting Kingpin in the face, and she goes back to her hometown. And in this episode, especially in the beginning of it, they show her family background in the beginning when she's a little kid, and as she's close to her cousin Bonnie. She lives with her mother and father and her grandmother. And one day her mother gets killed in a car accident, and her mother, who never really liked the father, basically he curses him, and he grabs his daughter and he just takes off. And he's kind of the father is into this kind of shady businesses, and he takes his daughter, you know, Maya, and they drive and they leave and go to New York, where they start working literally for the Kingpin. And she grows up under the Kingpin's. She grows up in that whole area. She learns karate and all that stuff, and she basically gets taught lessons from the Kingpin. Okay, they show you a little background of that. So, but basically, she goes back. The adult Maya goes back to her hometown. To We don't know at first because we figure she's fleeing to her family, but she's avoiding her family at the same time, avoiding her family except for a cousin Biscuits, who actually stumbles into her, and he's the one that is kind of helping her. Okay, she's avoiding her grandmother, she's avoiding her cousin Bonnie, but she does meet up with her Uncle Henry, who actually works for the Kingpin there in the Midwest. Okay, and the thing about this show now, a lot of people, again, I've seen the YouTube videos, like the Critical Drinker. A lot of other people are saying this is another disappointment, and I have to say this show is a disappointment in terms of writing. Okay, I think all the scenes with Vincent D'Onofrio and uh, Alaqua Cox, who plays Maya, I think those scenes are good. Again, like I said, Vincent D'Onofrio, again, any scene he's in, he elevates it. So, and their relationship is kind of complicated because he sees her as his daughter and somebody that he's taught lessons and stuff, and he really, it's more like a father-daughter relationship that he has with her, and he's really, like, really taking that role seriously. And you'll see when you watch the show what the various things he does, and you say, oh, this guy he really does love her like a daughter. Okay, but she's trying to flee that, and avoid him. But of course, there's going to be the inevitable clash. Now, the thing that I really didn't like in this show, one of the things I didn't like was her relationship with her. They show you in the beginning her relationship with her cousin Bonnie when they're little kids. They consider themselves sisters, even though they're cousins. And also, she has a complicated relationship with her grandmother because she loves her grandmother, but her grandmother can't stand her father. Okay, and so you can understand why when she came back, that maybe she would try to avoid them at first. But I don't understand. We find out later why she actually came back to her hometown. But you figure, why would she come back to her hometown if she doesn't want to see them? Especially it's a small town the way it is. That inevitably you're going to run it, or somebody. And what happens is somebody else sees her, and they actually wind up telling the grandmother. But then there's no immediate confrontation. Even the cousin Bonnie finds out from Biscuits that May is back, and still, again, there's no really good confrontation because you can tell she really missed her cousin Maya, and she really wanted to. So you wanted these dramatic emotional scenes between Bonnie and Maya and her grandmother, but we don't really get those in this show, which I think is definitely a mistake. And we find out later that she actually came back to that hometown to basically mess with Kingpin's organization. They show this big dramatic scene where she hops a train basically, and she plants explosives on a delivery for him, and it basically blows up one of his factories. Okay, which of course is going to draw attention, of course. And we know, then we find, of course, Kingpin's not dead, even though she shot him. She shot him in the eye, but of course he survived. Okay, and then he actually confronts her. We see him come back in episode 4. He actually, comes to her house, comes to that town. Okay, and there's a scene in the beginning, I think in episode 2 or 3, where they actually get caught. Her Uncle Henry, who knows she's back in town, and her cousin Bonnie and her, they get basically caught by one of the guys that work for her Uncle Henry. He sells them out to Kingpin's henchmen, and they come and they basically, after Maya, there's a little fight and all that stuff, but Maya, they actually get overwhelmed them, and they're about to kill them when the guy gets the call, and then we know that's from the Kingpin, because then we see at the end of the episode, Kingpin shows up. And again, those scenes are good. The scenes between her and the Kingpin, and even the scenes they show in, like at the beginning of the episodes of her of Maya's history, her family. They go actually, because I think the whole purpose of this is to show that she comes from a long line of strong women, okay, that all have these certain qualities that are supposed to be basically passed down through, and I guess that's the end of, but they don't, the writing, that part is okay for me, but it's the writing between the relationship between you wanted to see that confrontation between her and Bonnie, and the confrontation between her and her grandmother, which is really a shame that we don't actually get those moments. I don't know if they cut those moments for time or something, but those were the moments that I was looking forward to. The big confrontation between, because you even have a scene of her cousin Biscuit saying that if she finds out that you're here, so you're expecting this great emotional confrontation because they were close as sisters. And you even see in the beginning of episode 1 when the father and her Maya leaves, and the grandmother's holding back Bonnie, the little girl. She actually, I think she twists out of her grandmother's arm. She actually runs after the truck as it's leaving. So they were really close. So you wanted to see that nice emotional moment between them as they reunite as adults, but you don't get it. Okay, and then again with the grandmother loved her obviously, but hated her father because he's involved with shady stuff, and we don't really get a good screaming. Not screaming, but a good emotional moment between her and the grandmother. Okay, there's a little bit of it where with the grandmother talking to with the family friend played by Graham Greene, who runs this fix-it shop, where when she kind of explains why she hated the father and all that stuff. But there's a lot of emotional moments that you wish you would have gotten in the show. And again, I don't know if they should have made more episodes, okay, just so they could flesh that part of it out more. Because those are the parts I wanted to see, that confrontation between her and her cousin, her and her grandmother. Those were the moments I wanted to see, and we didn't really get those moments. I think altogether, Bonnie has, I think 3 scenes with her, and they're very brief. Okay, I think that even the grandmother I think it's maybe 3 scenes with her too. And we don't get those confrontations with her. And I don't think they did that because the actress is hearing impaired. I don't think that was the reason, because she has a lot of scenes with her Uncle Henry, okay, even those scenes with her cousin, her cousin Biscuits, even the scenes with the Kingpin. Those are good scenes and good dramatic and emotional scenes, and we get those, but we don't get those good scenes that you wanted to see, because I thought the show going in was going to be about her reconnecting with her roots and stuff, and they do show a little bit, and they do show some flashbacks of her and her mother, which I really love. I like those parts when they show the heritage part. I think those are good, but for the most part, these emotional moments that you wanted to get in this really weren't there, and why they didn't write it. I don't know. I don't know if they cut those parts out for time. Maybe they were in there and they cut them out for time, but in any event, it's a shame we don't get those good emotional moments. And again, I thought half the time you see, like I said, she comes back to her hometown, and half the time you see her riding her motorcycle out of town, and then she comes back. She rides her motorcycle out of town, comes back. It's a lot of that, which is just plain silly. Okay, so overall, this show, like I said, if you watch my review of the trailers, I wasn't really looking forward to this. I saw the Daredevil in the trailer, and I also was a fan of Kingpin, so those are the reasons I wanted to watch the show. I didn't really care that much for the character of Maya, even though I thought she was an okay character in the Hawkeye series. But overall, I'm happy I did watch it. I just think they missed a great opportunity to have some good emotional moments in this show, which really would have to me would have made this elevate the material a little bit. Okay, that's what I really think. And then we even get a thing at the end after there's this confrontation, and she finds her and she discovers her powers and all that stuff, and she puts the whammy on the Kingpin, and then I guess maybe Kingpin's going to show up in Daredevil season 4 because at the end of we find out he's looking at a news report when he's flying back about somebody running for mayor. So now we're going to get the Kingpin probably running for mayor in Daredevil season 4, whenever that shows. But overall, again, I don't know if it's just too short of episodes. The episodes are too short, but the writing was just lacking in the show. So out of my 4-star system, 1 star being poor, 2 stars being fair, 3 stars being excellent, no, 3 stars being good, and 4 stars being excellent, I'm gonna have to give this 2 stars just for fair. It's just fair. It's not. It could have been so much better, especially with Vincent D'Onofrio in it. It just could have been so much better. Okay, and I was worried about her Uncle Henry because, like I said, he was working for Kingpin and he was trying to lay low, but he had his employee who dropped dime on him, and it even looked like they were going to get wiped out and stuff. But luckily, he did survive. And if they are going to do a season 2 of this, I don't know if they are or not. Okay, if they are, again, I want to see, especially Deborah Jacobs, who plays her cousin Bonnie. She was the voice on that What If episode where she plays on the Indian superhero they introduced. I forgot the character's name. And so I wanted to see more of her in this show. We just got that little bit of her in this show, which really disappointed me. Her, and then again the grandmother too as well. There was so much moments that they could have had between her cousin and her grandmother, even her. They just missed those opportunities. Didn't write it for whatever reason, or maybe, like I said, it got cut for time. But who knows? But anyway, again, I'll give this 2 stars, just fair. It's just not. It was a disappointment to me. It wasn't that great. It had potential, but it didn't live up to the potential. So I'll give it 2 stars, fair. Anyway, let me know what you think of Echo. What do you think of it? The 5 episodes. What do you think of it? Feel free to leave comments down below. I have links to my social media in the description box: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Also have a link to my other channel called Views and Opinions. If you check that out as well. Also have a link down below to my Patreon. And my Patreon is only $5 a month. I have tons of content on there. I have Marvel shows on there. I have DC shows. I have movies as well. So follow the link down below to the Patreon and check it out. Also, please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel, and I truly appreciate it. Also, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so you know when I upload new content to this channel. And this is Trey Pastor saying so long. Take care.